What is going on, everybody? Today we're talking about episode 4 of season 3 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. We're about to get into an episode that may or may not be an episode you enjoyed. My name is Will, and this is my co host,
My name's Caleb.
and we look forward to getting into a space adventure hour.
Goodbye, 1966. Yes, the times are changing with new stories and sweet kicks, and Mr. Warfare dancing. Red alert, set phasers to fun. Incoming message, the podcast has begun. From Pike to Freeman in the mix, let's get our Star Trek fix. Paying homage to the classics. It's new Trek Who Dis. Who Dis? It's new Trek Who Dis. Who Dis? It's new Trek Who Dis. Who Dis? It's new Trek Who Dis. Who Dis?
So, right off the bat, before we get into a discussion of it, what would you, Caleb, rate the episode out of 5 deltas?
Well, so I know you and I have difference of opinions sometimes.
Sure, yeah.
I happen to lean more into liking the crazy whimsical episodes that don't really fit into stuff.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna give this one a 5 delta from me this week.
Nice.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed it. Kept me preoccupied like the entire episode. And there's a few things that we'll talk about, like negatives, but those are like overall negative for the season. But yeah, as a standalone episode, I really enjoyed it.
Good. That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you can give it a 2 and we can move on.
Yeah, for myself, if I was purely rating on it taking a big swing and trying to do a lot of things that, the original series was unable to do, just trying to cover a lot of interesting ground that's not really normal to the original series, I probably would give it a 4 overall. That's kind of where I would sit with it. But with really thinking about it and kind of like how it sits with me, and I don't know, I'm unable to access the people who wrote it and things of that nature. I would give it a 1.
Yeah. So it's a hard thing, and we talk about it every week. I feel like we talk about it ad nauseum, but it's like every time that I'm kind of resolved to say, like, hey, so this is not the same timeline as TOS, and just enjoy the show for what it is. It's new Trek, it's fun.
Yeah.
I like the characters, and then they do stuff, and it's like, oh, see,
Mm,
that's why that's like that in TOS, and it's like, yeah, but it's not though, because
yeah.
so they keep doing this thing where it's like they want so badly to have it connect, but they also need
Right.
to write like a fun show, and they have to do things that like the fans like, but it's like, well, we're so like for example, the holodeck stuff.
Hmm.
It's like cool. Fans love the holodeck, but that's Picard's timeline. So we can't, I know you told me before, like theoretically, the Enterprise, the TOS Enterprise had a holodeck. They just never used it
Yeah.
on the show or whatever the fan thing is. But it's very clear, like, well, we want to do a holodeck episode. We think it'd be fun, but we're just testing it.
Right.
And then it's like, well, it's too dangerous. So we won't put this in ships moving forward. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't hate that stuff, but it's just like, don't try to connect that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah. So I think altogether that makes our rating of the episode 3 deltas.
Yeah.
You already kind of briefly talked about the episode without major spoilers. Without giving any major spoilers away, and then before we get right into the discussion, I think if I understood what they were trying to do, I might have liked it a little bit more. But because I don't know, and I only can go off of how I felt and how I was interpreting what was happening,
Hmm.
it felt really disrespectful to like a lot of things.
Okay.
So I think honestly, it's going to be a mixed bag. I don't think it's going to be like the singing episode or the fairy tale episode or the episode where the lower
Yeah.
decks characters come in. it's not the goofiness that I have a problem with. That's not what bugs me, and I'm fine with a large majority of things that you would think would bug me. It's not that stuff. So,
Gotcha.
but yeah, so I think we'll dive right in. We'll get into spoilers territory, and we'll talk about A Space Adventure Hour.
Recommend we go to Red Alert.
Red alert!
Since you pointed it out to me last week that like Lahan's like actual like actress is really big into like dancing and ballet and stuff,
Yeah,
I totally felt like more negative about it this week.
I see. Okay.
So, before it's kind of like, okay, that's weird, right? Like she's this trauma victim, and now all of a sudden, season 3, she's like totally fine.
Yeah.
And now she just wants to dance. And it's like, okay. But then you told me like the actress, like that's what she wants to do. And it's like
Yes.
now I do feel like you're saying like they're like writing towards that.
I mean, they 100% are. There's no doubt in my mind. They're catering, and she clearly has much sway in the writer's office on what she
Yeah.
wants her character to be like. I mean, her
So
character is like a 180 from season 1.
yeah, it's a little crazy. So yeah, I'm not super thrilled about like dancing every time she's on screen,
No, I'm
you
not
know?
either. No,
I really don't know how I feel about her and Spock. I don't really enjoy it.
I don't enjoy it either.
I want Spock to just be, you know,
Normal.
like heartbroken from, the chapel stuff and then just be a Vulcan.
Yeah, it just doesn't, to me, it just doesn't make any sense because we've been watching, he's enthralled with Chapel, and then one episode happens and he's maybe or maybe not over Chapel, but
Yeah, I
then
don't know.
also he has like a promised agreement to T'Pring, which is still a thing because, right, this connects to
Yeah.
canon.
Right. Yeah.
And then two, like, she was all hot and heavy for Kirk. So it's
Hmm.
like, what's happening?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
And it's just like, so I just feel like next week is just gonna be, she's just gonna be back at the com. It's gonna be like business as usual,
Yeah, probably.
and like, whatever. But it's just like stuff doesn't get to develop because
Yeah.
I just feel like stuff moves too fast in this show. Sometimes I
And
feel like scenes happen and it's like, well, why is
yeah.
this? But
And I think to
whatever.
me, that's part of the negative of things like this isn't what I'm upset about, but the thing that I think that they do a lot that makes everything feel rushed is they have episodes like this where, yes, at the
Kind of
end,
meaningless. Yeah.
La'an and Spock have a thing, whatever. And it's like, okay, but like when you really look at it, like 80% of
Yeah.
the episode was kind of nothing. And it
No, as far as
also,
like character development, you mean?
yeah, just character development and
Yeah.
like continuing the story. I mean, a lot of characters take a back seat for this thing, and
Hmm.
it's kind of strange.
Yeah, they don't even show cast in like the retro show. But like they're
Mm,
there later on, but
right.
like they don't show them in the, actual episode of the thing, which I
Yeah.
would have enjoyed seeing more of the actual like fake TV show.
Yes. Same.
But I was happy though. So like when the intro starts, like the intro is great. All right. The
Yep.
like TOS callback, all that stuff is great.
Yeah.
Loved it. I was happy though that like that wasn't the whole episode. Like they weren't stuck in some weird like
Yeah.
wacky time warp
Yeah.
thing that. So I was
Like,
happy that it was like not a real thing that was happening. It was like an in-universe thing.
right.
Like it's a real deep cut. I liked a lot. I liked all that stuff. I did think a lot of it was weird though, where it was like they were almost calling out stuff that like
Yes.
happened back then, like making fun of themselves almost like for being part of the franchise.
Yeah,
There was a
that's
lot of like, well, very clearly taking shots at like Roddenberry. Like, oh
right.
my, each season my skirt gets shorter and my lines get shorter. It was like, yeah, but you're in Star Trek though. So like you're making fun of Star Trek in a fake Star Trek
Right.
universe. It's kind of weird. It was a
It
little
was,
like under, yeah. So I think
well,
that's what you're talking about when you're talking about like disrespectful. Yeah.
yes. Yes.
Yeah, I felt that way on a few things.
Like, other than the La'an and Spock stuff, like at the end of the episode primarily, most of the other stuff, like on the ship with like Scotty and all that, which we'll get into,
Oh yeah.
I
Great.
was fine
Yeah.
with. I had like no problem with it.
Yeah.
And even when the opening happened, I was like, oh man, that's fun. I thought, you know, Kirk or Chapel or even Ortegas, and I thought I was leaning more towards Ortegas, that like since she's been knocked off the bridge, she's went and found like this junky 60s show in the
Mm.
holodeck where she's playing this character that she's always heard is terrible, and like she's getting to fly the ship, but it's in this like junky
Yeah,
world. And this was a real television series that was in the 60s for the Star Trek timeline, and
right.
it's just like, oh, isn't it foolish that the 60s had no idea what space travel really was like? I thought
Hmm.
that's how it was opening. Especially then when it goes to the intro, I was like, wow, because we talked about it.
Because they leaned into it pretty good,
Right.
yeah.
And when it was like galaxies, the last journey, and
Yeah.
I was like, I literally had Adri pause it because I was like, okay, you don't understand like
This is weird, yeah. How
how
weird this is.
weird this is that we for like the last couple weeks were just making offhanded comments about this. I had no idea this was coming. I had zero idea.
No.
And so we talked about that and we laughed about it. But I also felt just a twinge of weird, just a twinge of how Paul Wesley was talking as the captain. He was kind of making fun of
A
Shatner,
little bit,
just a
yeah.
little bit. And I was like, it's kind of strange, but whatever. Let's see what the show is. So then when we come back, it's the normal Enterprise. They're talking about all their things. It's like it's normal. It's all normal looking. They bring up in the scene that they want her to test it, and Pike drops the word recreation room.
Yeah.
And
Which I
that,
thought was good.
right, so that comes from the animated series where they go into the rec room, which is essentially a holodeck.
Mm.
It's not called a holodeck. It just is a room on the Enterprise that can like make scenery and do stuff.
Sure.
It's called the Practical Joker. It's in that episode. So that's where
Mm.
they're getting this from. They just had Una say like, well, everybody just calls it the holodeck because that's just what they wanted
Yeah.
to make it. It's not
Because
what they
modern
call
modern audiences need to equate it with the
exactly.
actual holodeck. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also like the yellow grid thing like isn't a
It's
thing in the
clearly,
animated
yeah.
series. It's a thing from TNG. So I was like, it's fine. I'm not losing my mind over the fact that,
Well,
it's a
Spock even
holodeck.
asks for the arch too, remember? Like specifically,
Right.
like, it was like, I don't know about
Right.
that.
So, it was fine. I wasn't like losing my mind that they introduced the holodeck to it because it's like it loosely was already in Star Trek.
Mm.
And it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
that to me is like whatever.
right. And then them telling her to put it to its limits is like kind of strange, but whatever. And then I was fine. Like her being a character from an Amelia Moon thing is just
Hmm.
like Dixon Hill. It doesn't
Oh
bother me.
yeah. It harpens to Dixon Hill and it also is like Data's like love for like
Sherlock
Sherlock.
Holmes,
Yeah.
and
So I was like, this is cool.
this is
Yeah.
right. This is right up. This is
I
like the
still I still had no idea what the intro was about at this
right,
point,
insane.
right?
I was just like, well, that's really weird. And here we are. And so she goes in there and does everything. And then the thing that I thought was kind of like lazy, and I didn't really enjoy, was
Mm.
Scotty says to Lon that, to make like renderings of people in the thing, we can only use
Yeah,
like the signatures from transport buffer materials. So you can only
right.
use like the senior staff.
Yeah, but like a lot of people transfer on and off the ship
Right. And
too.
also like, and then as we got into her inside the holodeck, it was like, okay, so they just wanted all of the main cast to
Yeah.
play stupid characters. Like, come
Yeah. I don't have an issue with that. I thought like that's a fun way to get like the actual cast into the show,
yes,
like get
yes.
them to play different characters. I
It,
really liked like their avatars on the data pad when they showed her
yes.
like the avatars of all like the crew. They were
Yeah,
all like
yeah.
three-dimensional. I was like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, and I
It is
wasn't
lazy. It is lazy.
right. I was not angry about it. It just was like it just was I rolled my eyes at it because it was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. But then as it started to explore what was happening in the holodeck and like what she was trying to investigate as her character, Amelia Moon, I guess.
You mean Carmen San Diego?
Yeah, it did feel like that. It kept making me go like, are they making fun of Star Trek? Like, are they it,
Yeah.
but now it wasn't just, well, we're making fun of like the quality of Star Trek. They're now doing the like behind the scenes, like stuff that
It's
happened. Like, you know what I mean?
it
Because
was too on the nose for a lot
right,
of this stuff. It could have been a lot more like fun, but it was like when you make the choice to have, you know, the guy that you have playing Kirk pretend to be like William Shatner and
Right.
like, he's really conceited and, self-aware. Like,
Right.
okay, now you're making a statement.
Right.
It's like you're kind of making this what this is, and it doesn't need to be
Doesn't
like
right.
that. It could have just been fun. It could have just been a fun space show that like all these people
Exactly.
were like murdering each other in like a Clue style murder mystery.
Exactly.
It could have been fun, but it was like now, but you're making direct choices to make these people act like TOS people.
Right. And it's
And it
like
was like, that's
obviously they're going to
weird.
make outlandish decisions and exaggerated personalities. I get it. Like Roddenberry doesn't talk
Yes.
high pitched like Anson Mount does.
Now, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I loved every second that he was on screen.
He's not bad.
It
Like I
was
don't
so
they're
good.
all
He was
good
so
actors in the
good.
show. Even
Oh,
Ortegas, who plays the
yeah.
lady, is fine. It
Yeah.
was all acted well. It just was like clearly Una was like Lucille Ball. It was a redhead who was like helping the show.
Yeah, it was very, yeah, again, it's very on the nose. It's very on the
And
nose.
then you even get up to that scene where Uhura, whatever her character's name was, does the whole like why quote unquote Star Trek is the way that it is.
Yeah.
And I like her speech, and that's fine, but
I liked her speech too. Yeah.
it just, I don't know. The thing I kept thinking about was I don't know how to take it, and this is where my hang up is.
Hmm.
Am I supposed to take it as a parody or a tribute to TOS?
Yeah.
Because if that's how I'm supposed to take it, it's a little bit easier of a pill to swallow. But when I look at it and I really like think about what they actually do in it, it just makes me feel like they're making fun of it. So then it feels like an attack. And I almost got the impression they are like everybody on the internet is screaming that Strange New World or New Star Trek is nothing like the old stuff. So they're like, well, here's all the old stuff. Is this how you want us to make it?
Mm.
Like, this is what it would look like. This is how people would behave, you know? People, like, there's sexism, people
Yeah.
overact, the lighting's not great, the creatures don't look good. It's like, no, this is what it would look like. And then when you look flash forward to like the quote unquote real stuff, it's like, well, Roddenberry's a hack, and it's
Yeah.
like Shatner's this like he's a conceited idiot who just cares about his career, and
Hmm.
Lucille Ball is just doing things for money, and it just is like whether or not those things are really true, sure, but that's like not a part of the actual show.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, what if it was you, like you hadn't seen the original series, and like you watched this episode, and then we flash forward to an episode, and you're like, so the fake intro to a fake show in an in-world novel
Yeah.
is the actual intro to a real thing. Like it
Yeah.
was so disconnected that I don't know, I couldn't enjoy the fact that of what they were trying to set up. It took me so far out of it that the whole time I kept thinking about real world Star Trek and like how it's created and what we talk about on the podcast and like the actors
Yeah.
and all of those people rather than just like letting it be a funny thing where they're just like in a murder mystery and stuff is just happening.
Right.
And I also think like it's kind of super bizarre to have an episode that I don't know, is just so on the nose about the actual thing that you're watching.
Yeah. I started to feel kind of like you're saying when they started to really make like cuts at stuff, like certain lines, like,
Right.
the sexism and,
Right.
I think Lahan, there's one point where she's like, this script, she probably was gonna, take her name off and put a man's name on it because that's what they did back then.
Right.
And it was like, okay, that's a little too on the nose. There was a lot of stuff like that was like, okay, like yeah, we get it, right? Like
Yeah.
we're fans of the show. We kind of know like the 60s
Right.
stuff is good, but it's flawed because of the timeline. Like you don't
Right.
really need to like shine a lamp on it and say like, well, we're better now.
Yeah, right.
But, there are a few things like that happen, like for me, that even made me feel like, okay, this is like, I don't know what they're trying to say about like Star Trek. It's weird that, like, if this was a different show, it's clearly like, well, see, look at they're making fun of
Oh
Star
yeah.
Trek. But because this is Star Trek, it's like, well, what are they saying about their predecessors? Like, it's kind of, I don't understand the joke if it's a
Right.
joke, you know?
It like if this was that cast has retired, they're not on the show, they're off doing their own thing, and then 10 years later they reunite for the Oscars or the Emmys or whatever. And
Hmm.
it's like, here's a funny gag that they're gonna do on the stage, and like this is what they did. It's like, oh, hilarious, haha, Star Trek is stupid. It's
Yeah.
like it did a lot, but it's antiquated. You're like, okay, yep, I get the joke, got it. But to
Yeah.
actually be physically episode 4 of season 3 of a Star Trek series, and it's so referential. It's like, what? Like, it just was like, it
I,
was a
I,
thing where they patted themselves. I think they patted themselves on the back too much for what they were trying to do and didn't think that, like, what this actually means for in-world Star Trek.
well, yeah, but I don't think they really, I think that's why for me, I enjoyed the episode so much is because like, I don't get bogged down in that stuff because it's like clearly they don't think about in-universe stuff because they keep writing all this stuff that's like, well, whatever, like I just accept that it's not the correct timeline. I don't know. I just have to accept that
Yeah, no,
and just
I
take it
hear
on
you.
the surface for what it is. I enjoyed the murder mystery stuff a lot. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I feel like they could have made it a lot less on the nose. They could have even, even if they kept it like the space show, it just don't have the people act like the original cast, you know?
exactly.
Just
Totally.
have them be normal like actors together and then
If it was just a 1960s Hollywood murder mystery, I wouldn't have cared at all.
yeah.
And even if they had opened the show with the Star Trek thing, and
Yeah.
then later it's just like they're just people, it's like, oh, okay, and whatever.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, because think about Galaxy Quest. Like you and I love Galaxy Quest, and it's a
exactly.
very much like it's kind of a slapstick, like this is the stuff in Star Trek,
Right.
but it's done well. It's not like making fun of,
Yeah.
you know,
But also, like, it has nothing to do with Star Trek. So it's like,
no.
I don't know. It's just,
If they would have made the original show like the Western that they were writing,
yeah.
and like it was just a Western, it was like, see, it's funny because like back in the 60s, like that's all there were Westerns.
Right. And then he's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And
another Western, yeah. Like that's funny.
right.
And then so now they're just like Western star like actors in this show. Like, okay,
Right.
like, I can live with that. Like it's just a funny choice to make it a fake Star Trek show in a real Star Trek show.
Yes.
And it's obviously they did it just because like to have the new Kirk get to play old Kirk is like fun.
Right.
Him on the bridge overacting.
Right.
Which again will always come back to the fact that Kirk doesn't act like that. All
No,
of the
no,
things that William Shatner like
no.
gets like put on him for like TOS like isn't
Right.
really a thing,
No.
And I learned that pretty quick when I watched it. I always thought that was really how it was because that's what everybody says. He's sleeps with aliens and he's overacting
Right.
and it's like that's not. So like for them to make the new
I,
guy act like that, it's like yeah,
yeah.
but that that's not what he acted like.
Right.
So those are for the fans that like didn't watch TOS are like, oh, wow, that's not funny. That's William Shatner.
Yeah. Like I kind of touched on, just to me, it's weird to think that there is an author in the real Star Trek canon who
Yeah.
created a series of books that may or may
Hmm.
not, because I know that they say in one scene that they compiled like 12 books or something to make this thing for La'an,
This
which is
is an
very
author in a book.
right.
So it's like it's a book within a book within a book.
Okay. And it's very like give a opponent worthy of challenging data episode, right? It's very much
Hmm.
like getting trapped with
It's a
Verity.
Moriarty thing, yeah.
And but it's weird to think like, okay, that, and then in that book that they talk about a 60s, television, science fiction television series that is basically what they do.
Yeah,
That's a little strange, but
it's
also
weird.
two, I think just the thing that, because I don't know and I can only go off of how I feel, it literally feels like everybody gets upset that this isn't like TOS. It has, like we're talking about, they keep doing episodes that are just goofy to just be goofy.
Mm.
And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are kind of like, so where's the Strange New Worlds part of your show? Like you're just making them do like bizarre things, and it's like,
Yeah.
but that's not like your name of your show is Strange New Worlds. Like you're going to new planets and doing new and different things. It's like, no,
Yeah.
we're rehashing stuff and staying on the ship, and people are like singing and dancing. It's like,
Well, they
okay.
keep that stuff for the season finale.
Yeah, right. And it just makes me feel like people like Alex Kurtzman and whoever else there are just like giving a big middle finger to the
Yeah.
fan base of the people who complain consistently
Yeah.
that they don't like new Star Trek.
I gotcha. See, I'm not involved with like the reviews and what the fans are feeling. So like that stuff to me goes over my head because I'm not like in it.
Yeah,
So, I totally get like for you that like you read up on stuff and you feel a
yeah,
certain way and other fans feel a certain way. So I didn't get that feeling 100% because like
yeah.
I stay away from that stuff. But
I try not to watch it either, but it's just like that. It's just so
yeah.
apparent that like the fan base from old hate a majority of the new stuff.
If
I don't
that's
know.
really the thing, then that also like upsets me.
It's just hard. It's just I don't know how to take it. It's hard for me to like it in any other way because it's so referential, and you'd have to be kind of blind to not see that they are poking jabs at like not just
Yeah.
TV show, but like the stuff that made the TV show.
Yeah. No,
It,
like the behind the scenes of the show,
right,
the writers and the, creator like squirreling about
right.
stuff and, the actors being too, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's like, I don't know. Like even for me, I was at the point I was like, I don't know how that makes me feel about that. I just tried to focus more on like the
Yeah, yeah,
actual mystery of the episode.
right. Same.
I
Yeah.
totally get what you're saying. And if that's really like why they wrote this episode, then, forget
Yeah.
that.
Which is why I put it at such a low thing because I have no reference of saying that it wasn't intended to be that way.
Yeah. Well, they're not
And
going to say either way, right?
no. And then I looked up the two ladies that wrote the episode, and, one of them kind of wrote like nothing. She wrote an episode of Lower Decks, and she was a story editor on season 2 of Lower Decks. She wrote a couple other things that didn't do well. And then
Mm.
the other lady, she primarily wrote for Once Upon a Time and Supergirl. And it's
Okay.
like, whatever, those are popular shows, but, they're kind of notoriously known to be like teen drama, cheesy, dramatic stuff.
Yeah.
And I personally think that the La'an and Spock stuff, all the cringy stuff is from her, and all the
Hmm.
like goofy, referential, silly stuff in the opening is from the other lady. And I don't know. The weird thing is you watch Lower Decks, and Lower Decks is a nonstop comedy fest, and it does make fun of Star Trek, but
Hmm.
they make fun of it in a way that is either helps explain the canon, adds to the canon, and it makes it comical. And you're like, oh, that's funny. Ha ha ha. And you move on. I mean,
Mm.
the whole series basically is a giant jab at Star Trek, but I never once felt how I felt after this episode.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
just, it's
because this isn't like making fun of Star Trek, it's making fun of people who wrote and directed and acted in Star Trek.
right.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird.
And it's tough too, because like Jonathan Frakes directed it. So, you're never gonna I just feel
Oh,
like you're never gonna get anybody saying anything about it that like they're not gonna say that like, well, yeah, we meant it to be kind of rough. It's either they're tone
yeah.
deaf and they don't understand like how insensitive what they did was, or they intended it for it to be kind of rude.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. I choose and hope to think that they're just like thought it would be funny, but didn't realize like
Yeah, that's
what they
that's
were writing,
I
like
would
how it
assume
came
so.
across. I don't know.
I guess would be like the first time I personally would feel that Strange New Worlds is woke. I guess is the way to put it.
Yeah.
Like it's basically trying to say old stuff is trash. We're
Hmm.
not doing the old stuff because this is how it was, folks. Like, hey, remember it was terrible in the 60s.
Yeah.
And like now we're in the 25s and everything is great.
Yeah, I know. But the issue with that though is that a lot of TOS episodes have been better,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. So take
It's
that how
just,
you will.
yeah. And I think what doesn't help either is the fact that, like, if they're trying to do an homage to TOS, like to bring the holodeck in is so much more TNG. A
Mhm.
murder mystery is so much more TNG. It's like, it really just feels like they just really were pooping on the original series from like page one.
Yeah.
But anyways, the Scotty stuff is great. I loved him running around in engineering and switching the things out as the computer was like barfing out all these different things.
Yeah,
And
the Scotty stuff is great. Yeah.
really fantastic. I loved him switching the stuff in the wall and in the console. I loved his
No pro That's
interaction.
no problem.
Yeah, his
Well, it's just a bug.
interaction with Una on the bridge where he's like hypothetically like all that stuff on.
Yeah. And then he's like, "Hey, so just so you know, like none of that stuff was actually like hypothetical. It was like it's like
Right.
actually." And she's like, "Yeah, no, I caught on to that pretty quickly." Yeah. See,
Oh,
that's but to me, that's like the fun stuff. Like in the show is like I get to see the cast like that act with each other because in TOS, I mean, when does Uhura and Scotty ever like talk to each other?
right. Oh,
Never. You
100%.
know, so that's the stuff I enjoy. The other thing too is like I didn't really see the Spock thing coming.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
And it was like,
Enjoyed.
it happened. And I was like, man, that's pretty good. The computer did that. But then I was like, so Spock was just in his room, like dancing the entire episode, like while
Yeah,
the
while the
ship
bridge is
like
like
needs him to do stuff and engineering is crashing and there's no power
he's just hanging out.
and he doesn't care about observing this like solar thing. Isn't that like
No,
his whole thing is
no,
science? So it's like,
to keep the ruse up, he must hide.
yeah, and I'm not a fan of that really.
Yeah,
I don't think that's not good.
makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I I
Yeah.
did like Scotty being in the film in the holodeck. That was cool.
Yeah, when he was like
Yeah,
the phone guy, he gave the
yeah,
phone.
yeah. That was really
I
good.
like I do really enjoy, so for what it's worth, I enjoy the intro, when like the ship gets hit and they all like fall out of their chairs and
A
stuff. I
hundred
enjoy
percent.
it. I enjoy that. I liked that they call it the space phone. I thought
Yeah.
that was
Oh
funny.
yeah. The
So like if
James.
it was just that, it's like okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Like it yes, the 60s is goofy, you're paying homage to it, great.
Yep.
Like that's
Yep.
fine. I'm happy with that. I think
It
it's
is what
fun.
it is. Right.
Yeah.
It's like the
Even
blooper stuff at
the
the end.
bloopers at
Like
the end were good too.
were
Yeah.
great. I didn't have
Yeah.
a problem with that. Like it was funny and that's how the show was, and I don't know, it was enjoyable. I and like the
Yeah.
actual intro to it, I don't, other than him being too over the top as like a Shatner like character,
Yeah.
the rest of it was fine. I was fine with the rest of it. It was funny, and it was, her, the Chapel's character or whatever, her being stupid essentially and just repeating, saying the most basic things was like, yes, that's
Yes.
all
Yeah.
right. And then Ortegas is just turning like two knobs and she's flying the ship. Like it's fine. And I get it.
Yeah.
It was fine.
But
And
it's
they
also
had it
funny to compare that to like this show because that's all she does in this show.
true. Yes.
How does she fly the ship, Will? She does this. She uses her pinky. Oh, that's what
Right.
she.
Right.
So it's
Right.
like it's still funny because she's still not doing anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was nice that they completely changed like the audio quality of it so that it sounds like the old tapings. They used this old sound effects when things
Oh
are
yeah.
happening like that,
The
and
actual like music in the intro was like fantastic. Like
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, so I enjoyed a lot of what they were doing in the set design. That was fun. And like when he would talk and he would go to say something and they would change the lighting so that he
Yeah.
was lit like really hard in certain areas and they would
hmm
focus on him. Like all that stuff was really funny. And
It's
that,
because that feels like an actual homage.
right, exactly.
Like it's not bad yet.
Yeah, because it's like it's okay that stuff is silly. It doesn't, I'm not a big fan of it, but I don't like hate it. I'd rather this
But
have
I
just been a fun, different
yeah.
episode. But
And
whatever. It's like,
And I like that stuff, but I also don't want it to be every episode either. So like
right,
last week was great. Last week was like an actual like scary good
right.
episode.
Where they
This week
like,
was yeah.
yeah, where they move the story along.
Yeah. But I've also seen like pictures and stuff online of them like of Pike as like a puppet and it's like is that going to be a full episode?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so it's like so even for me that's like a little it feels too much.
Yeah, so at Comic-Con they released this episode, so people who went to the Strange New Worlds panel
Oh,
saw this strange space adventure hour. They played it for them.
okay. Yeah.
And then they were like, "Guess what? Get ready for season 4." And they showed Pike as a puppet. And they were like, "Season 4."
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, because I know that there's people out there that are like, more stupid, silly stuff, but
Yeah.
it's like, that's not why I watch the show. I don't watch the show so that it can be more nonsense. I get that Lower Decks is a funny show and that was popular in the fan base, but that's not why people are watching Strange New Worlds. They're not looking for the off the wall stuff. When you go onto websites like IMDb and other things like the Elysium
Yeah.
Kingdom and
Hmm.
other episodes, even the one here, the wedding one, like they're rated kind of low because people don't
Yeah.
like them.
Yeah.
Even like I
I
know
get
you
that.
liked it, but like the singing episode is rated very low. So
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember though. Season so that episode I think wasn't that like the weirdest one in season two?
yeah, I mean they have the Lower Decks crossover one, but
Yeah, but that yeah, okay. So that yeah. But like, I think that's it just was such a standout. But so far we've had like two wacky episodes this season already and it's like
yeah,
okay. Yeah, but remember like Pike gets blown up, right? That's
right.
where we're writing
It's like,
to. So like
oh yeah. Remember how the crew members have PTSD from being
yeah.
in Gorn sacks, and that like Pike's gonna
No,
die, and
they're
like
fine.
Patel is turning into a Gorn,
No,
and
she's fine.
like I don't know.
That's the stuff though. That stuff does irritate me because like so now like this episode is woo, and then now like next episode will be like Marie's not doing good. She's
Right,
really rejecting this flower we got 4 episodes ago,
right,
and it's like yeah, and Ortega's she's still seeing Gorns. It's not good. It's really not
yeah,
good. It's like you can't that was my like one complaint too about like the singing episode last season was like the episode before that is when Mbanga like murders that Klingon
oh,
guy.
yes,
And the next episode was like, we're singing, we're dancing, and it's like,
right. And then the next
but
episode
that's
is, I think, is the Gorn,
the
right?
Gorn one. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That was yeah. It was like, okay. But that's what I mean. So when the season is 8 episodes,
right,
you
right,
can't do 4 off the wall wacky episodes and then
right,
like 4 very serious ones that like progress the story.
right.
It
It
just
was rushed. Yeah,
yeah. But it's just like so that's the thing that like we always come down to like so if this is connecting
right.
Marie either has to die or,
Yeah,
find Pike disgusting and leave, right? That's what we're
yep,
getting to. Pike has to get blown up.
right,
Spock has to become a true Vulcan.
right.
Ortegas has to be gone. La'an has to be gone.
Right. Una has
Um,
to be gone. For some reason, Mbenga isn't the chief medical officer
and Banga
anymore.
has to be gone. Bones has to come in. Scotty's okay. We see like, okay, this is why Scotty likes working alone. This is why he's a lone chief
Yeah.
engineer.
Elliot goes away
Fine.
because she's already
Kelly
away.
is gone.
It's like, oh, okay. Hey, remember
Yeah.
that lady that we introduced that's the chief engineer? It's like, no, it's this legacy guy. And you're like, I like Scotty, but like,
Yeah.
maybe let the show stand on its own 2 feet.
No,
That was the
no,
other
no.
thing I was thinking about in this episode is like Anson Mount, like he's Captain Pike, he is the captain of the series. Like he's
Hmm.
the guy, and it's like, yeah, but isn't Kirk a really cool character? And you're like, uh-huh. But he has his own show. And
What if
it's
we bring him on and
yeah.
they can do stuff together? And then in
And
5 years, Kirk will say, like, yeah, I remember him as like an admiral and I never really did anything with him.
right.
Will that be fun? That'll be fun.
The other thing I saw at Strange New Worlds or at Comic-Con during the Strange New Worlds panel, which, I wanted to be excited for, and I was really excited to talk to you about it today, but like I'm less excited to talk about it,
Yeah.
was that I don't know if it's actually happening or they just were kicking around the idea and they said it to the audience. I forgot
Mm.
what I read. I don't remember if they were just like, wouldn't this be a neat idea, audience? Or like, we're probably going to make this a thing, audience. And it's called Star Trek Year One.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be what I have suggested
Hmm.
they do the whole time, which is how does the TOS crew become the crew that they are in where no man has gone before?
Yeah. Right.
So it's like how do Bones and Kirk become good friends? How is like Sulu and Chekhov and Uhura
Oh,
and Bones, like how are they all friends on the Enterprise so good? Like how are they such good
mhm.
friends?
Yeah, I want to see that stuff, like
Right.
really badly. Because I remember last season, that episode where it ends with like Kirk, Spock, and
Uhura
O'Hara
at the
like
table.
having drinks at the
Yep.
table. And it's just like, this is great.
Right.
I love this.
Right. Yep.
Like more of this, please. Like this is what we want. Like this is what fans want to see, like how it connects.
Right.
You're telling us it connects, but you're not writing that it connects. Tell us how it connects. Yeah, there's a lot of other like legacy characters that are like main cast members, and I understand that like cast in this show might have their feelings hurt, like getting
Right.
cut or whatever, and also some of them aren't even people don't even enjoy them in the show. So
Right.
it's like this messy gray area, but it's like how does it connect? Like
Yeah.
you said, like that's a great the point is Chekhov and you know all these
Yeah.
other characters. Also, like Uhura moves around on the ship too much now. Like
Yeah.
she needs to just stay in her seat at some point and just learn like, hey, I just need to be here at the comms. So
I'm
it's
not gonna
like
do anything else. Yeah.
I don't
And I
know.
was
Like
just
right
looking,
now they have her, she's like she was an engineer and she really liked doing that stuff and
and that was the
it's
thing.
just
Like
hard.
on Paramount Plus, they have like the banner of season 3, and I was like looking at it while I was talking to Adria about it last night.
Yeah.
And I said, honestly, you look at this, and Laan and Ortegas are the only characters on this thing that are not legacy TOS characters. They're all from the original series. They're all previous characters, and it's hard. It's like it's hard to enjoy this because if this supposedly connects to TOS, none of these characters get anything fleshed out. Nothing. Like
No.
nothing comes of these characters. And it's just
No, and
like,
that's
what, like, really, what are we doing? Let's give these
hmm
characters some cool stuff. So even when they have a crappy, send off, the last time you see that character, you're not like, okay, like all the stuff I've been watching, like none of it matters.
I just feel like the thing that they're going to write in to like write towards is like,
Yeah.
okay, so Pike gets blown up
Yeah.
and then like all of the like non-legacy characters are like, well, I don't want to serve not under Pike, so I'm gonna go to a different ship now.
Right.
Like that's what they're just gonna do because like they're not gonna start writing people out.
No.
Like the Pelly thing is weird this week. It's like, is she gone from the show now, or is she just
Seems like it.
not around this week?
Oh, well, she was on shore leave or whatever. And it's like,
We had her in one episode with Scott when Scotty came on board, and now it's like, yeah, well, she's gone now.
yeah.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
because she's not there in the future. Remember, guys, how this connects to stuff?
Yeah. And I think the other two last things that as a Strange New Worlds thing, regardless of the story, the other two things I didn't really understand and didn't think they were good. So they have Ortegas come to the bridge and she's flying the ship as she does.
Does she fly the ship?
She does.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, you only have seconds to make it work. And then it's going, and then she starts to fly. And then it's like, we're going to get hit with all this stuff. And then it shows the Enterprise like tilting down, and then it gets hit with all the stuff. And then she keeps flying. And they're all like, phew. And then they keep flying, and then the ship gets hit with more stuff. And they're like, phew. And I was like, so what is the ship? What are they actually trying to avoid? Because the ship is getting hit with stuff. So, like,
Uh-huh.
what? And the
Yeah.
other thing I really thought was dumb and they just didn't think about was, okay, she shoots Spock, she hugs him. He doesn't feel so wonderful and
Mhm.
beautiful. So I know it's not really him. And then she's like, aha, and she does the whole thing. And then she turns. And I just really didn't like that she was like, computer. And it was like, did you end
Mhm.
program? And then she did it and it all fades away. And I was like, how though? Because weren't you
Yeah.
stuck and you couldn't talk to the computer? Like, so now the computer was specifically keeping you locked into that because
Yeah.
you hadn't completed that thing and
You
the
had,
computer is
yeah.
now evil. Like, instead of it being like a real world technology situation where the computer is overloaded, so it can't
Yeah.
take any prompts because it
It
has
can't
too much
end.
systems going on. And then once the story is complete, the program naturally ends, and then everything comes back. It was, oh no, the computer's been watching and listening and following what I'm doing, and then the second
hmm
it feels that I have concluded this mission, I'm allowed to talk to it. I was just like, It should have just, when she
Yeah,
was
it's
like,
too much.
"You're the murderer, Spock," it should have just been like, zoom, and it just ended out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was. It's one of those things where it was like when it happened, I was like, that's kind of clever that, Spock was actually
Him being the thing I
hologram.
was taught,
But
it
then it's
just
like everything falls apart after that. It's like, okay, so like I said, like Spock just stayed in his room the entire episode. And then it
right.
was like, so she figures it out, and then, like you said, like she has to explain it to the audience before the computer like stops working.
And you know what's even stranger now that I keep thinking about is how weird it's going to be that like Spock goes into engineering to fix things in engineering and kills himself because La'an's ancestor is trying to kill them, this girl that he had feelings for.
Oh my God. That's why he does it. That's a really great point.
It's
I
like,
forgot. Yeah, I
oh
forgot.
man, the like great whatever, like the 20th great granddaughter of this guy who's trying to kill us. It's like, oh well, she's some lady I kissed once or fell in love with or whatever they're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
get. It's just
We
like,
had a summer passion.
yeah,
Don't forget, Will, that is the worst Star Trek movie, though. So
that's true.
people don't even like that one.
And I know that there's gonna be people that likely watch this are gonna be like, no, it was great and I loved it and every second of it was the best thing ever. That's
Yeah,
fine. I know, like you said, we leave it as a 5, and that's totally fine. I'm glad that you liked it. I'm happy that you enjoyed it because you were the TOS guy more than me,
yeah.
and if you enjoyed it, then that makes me feel good.
I enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah,
Without like, I feel like my opinion is based solely on just like watching it with no context of any behind the scenes stuff.
yeah.
I enjoy it. I don't know. I thought it was fun, but
Oh,
I
good.
definitely understand that there's problems with it. And yeah, if they really are like making a statement that, TOS sucks and this is better, like that's pretty false in my opinion.
Yeah,
Because I like this show a lot because it feels like TOS that's visually better. But I feel like sometimes I feel like it starts to go off the rails. But
yeah.
it's also like don't compare yourself to a 60s TV show. Like obviously it has
It
flaws.
just it just is so, I don't know. It's just so referential.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Well, looking forward to next one.
yeah. So before we conclude the episode, just wanted to go through some comments on the channel quick. For Wedding Bell Blues, we had a comment from my office. He says, I agree that the Spock Chapel relationship stuff needs to stop, but I was
Yep.
okay with taking this trip one more time. My hope is that this relationship now finally all over and maybe we'll see a little something from Spock and La'an question mark. Not sure
Oh
how I
boy.
feel about that potential relationship, but I'd be
Oh.
willing to give it a try.
Well, let us know
Let us know.
because it's happening. Also,
Uh,
like Chapel wasn't in this episode, so
true.
she's just gone again.
That's right. There was some nice comedic writing in this episode, which also made things feel fun. Spock had a number of great lines. But what I enjoyed the most was Trelane/Q. I'm also totally fine and kind of like the idea of tying these species together. To go back and watch The Squire of Gothos does make you think that Trelane is a Q, even though Q wouldn't exist for another 20 years. I totally think they wrote to that fan theory and tried to tie this all together in a quote unquote cute way. And I think so too.
Yeah.
Trelane, here's an interesting thing that I enjoyed his theory. Trelane disguising himself makes sense to me if you consider time for the Q continuum. It's not linear. Trelane
Mm.
sought out the Enterprise this time around, whereas the Enterprise found him when Kirk is captain. This would be how Trelane knows about the Enterprise crew, Spock specifically. Perhaps as a young Q, he decided to go back to have some fun with some of the people he remembers from the future question mark. He would disguise himself so things wouldn't be given away to Spock for the future. Aside from John Delancey voicing the entity, he did say something about Trelane turning things back or else he'd be punished, quote unquote, again. His
Mm.
parents punished him back in Gothos for messing with the Enterprise crew, which also makes me think that this is Trelane's second encounter with Spock from his point of view.
Okay.
There's still there is still the little plot hole of Spock not recognizing similar powers being used in the future, but that's my theory.
Well, yeah.
And I think that
Yeah.
I like that theory a lot actually. It's
Hmm.
a really good way to look at it.
If he can move around different timelines like that.
Yeah, which
Uh,
it wouldn't really matter.
and like you
Uh,
said, but the way they're writing this show anyway is that everyone's gonna have their memories wiped before TOS starts anyway, because
all of it's going to matter.
also, you remember how like you love Scotty? You remember how when Scotty like is talking to the mouse and he says, "Hello, computer." Don't forget that deep down in there, he watched his entire crew get killed by Gorn
That's
and
right.
can't deal with it. And then when Kirk goes and fights the Gorn, Scotty, he's fine with it.
Nope. Nobody tells him anything. Yeah, we hate Kirk. We'll let him figure it out on his own. He concludes his thought. I like the tying of Charlene to the queue, and I hope we're totally done with Spock slash Chapel or Spapple.
No,
4 deltas from me. This episode was funny and a lot of fun, which we were glad.
Spapple.
I didn't dislike the episode as much. And then the last two comments we had here were Shuttle to Kenfori.
Ooh, good one.
Print and Pedal Co. She had some thoughts. She says, some of my thoughts.
Okay.
Everyone does and has the right to handle trauma differently. So
Hmm.
Erica's crash out is not too unbelievable, which is true.
No, I'm fine with her crash out. It's just the reversal between Ortegas and her swapping.
Yeah, Laan, and
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's just the fact that she's unfortunately not been a likable character thus far that makes me roll my eyes.
Yeah.
I liked her
Yeah.
this episode more than ever because they gave her depth for the first time. Una did a great job of reprimanding her as an officer while trying to be kind to her as her friend, which is true.
I thought so. Yeah. I enjoyed all that.
Then she goes on to say, I loved the gold Klingon uniforms. Super cool. Which, yep.
Mm.
Loved the Klingon skeleton. Which, yep.
Hmm.
Also appreciated the part where the doctor told Pike not to refer them as zombies because they were once people. Very
Yeah.
doctor-esque of him.
Very, yes.
Yeah. Very
They're,
demure, very mindful is what she
they're
says.
not zombies. They're dead people that have come back from a disease
Right.
plant,
Yeah.
and they're hunger for brains. And he's like,
Yeah.
so zombies. Yeah.
Yeah, and Benka's like, we're not gonna call them schlocky monster movie creatures.
Yeah.
These are real people.
Yeah. These used to be scientists, dude.
Right.
Yeah, but now they're freaking brain-eating zombies.
I kind of agree with Patel not telling Pike since he doesn't really listen to her anyways. But yeah, agree
Yeah.
with Caleb. Romantic relationships are not written well in this show for me. Good episode though. I really love the set design on Kenfori with all the moss and plant
Oh,
life and such.
yeah, it was great,
It was
dude.
fantastic.
An abandoned Federation
Yeah.
facility lab
Oh, yeah.
on a jungle planet full of zombies. I mean, come on.
Have you seen the show?
Have you?
Yeah. And then our last comment again on Shuttle to Kenfori from my office, he goes on to say, it was nice that things with Battelle were not wrapped up with a bow and that
Oh
they're
yeah.
a serious threat to her. That was great.
Yes.
The fact that the solution to her problem is to merge DNA sounds super risky. Is this ultimately why Marie won't make it? Maybe.
Yeah, but I also feel like they could have just killed her off in the Gorn battle and been done with it.
Yeah. He makes an interesting question here. Will Pike eventually have to take her out if she becomes
Ooh.
aggressive?
Ooh.
Would
No.
make his character different, that's for sure. I think her end is coming, and this is going to prolong the situation a bit, but won't be a real solution. Will she become a human slash Gorn?
She
Omen?
becomes the
Gorn?
captain that Kirk has to fight.
I don't think we're going to call her a Horn.
I like your crazy. Yeah, don't call her a horn.
We'll call her a Goman, is what we'll call her.
Go, man. I enjoy your crazy off the wall theory that like
Oh,
she becomes a humanoid Gorn, and then that's why like in Kirk's timeline the Gorn are more like human looking.
yeah. And then that's why Kirk has no idea what they are, because, like, these are different Gorn.
These are not the Gorn. I remember.
Yeah. I thought the trip with Pike and Mbenga was really cool, and there were some great character moments. Pike discovering why they're getting the plants, the revelation that Mbenga did kill the Klingon from the previous season were highlights.
Yeah.
Agreed. But he says, I didn't really care for the plant monster stuff personally.
What?
But I like how they explain the science of it and why it happened. I kind of understand what he's saying, but like I get that like zombies are kind of
Yeah.
like an intense thing to add to a Star Trek show, but at the same time,
Hmm.
like they kind of already did in Star Trek Enterprise with like the Vulcan people chasing him through the ship and a couple other things that we've
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
seen. But it's like
Yeah, but it's just one of those things where it's like you can't just do an alien every week. You can't do a ball of light alien every week, you know?
true. He said, I loved Ortega's getting dressed down by Una. She's become a real mess in putting the crew and ship at risk unnecessarily just to be able to pull off her plan.
Hmm.
Wow.
Cool. But she flies the ship.
Can't get her off the bridge.
No,
I'm
no,
interested to
unless
see where this takes her next and whether or not it will actually make her a better officer or ultimately lead to her being removed from Starfleet.
well, yeah.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see. Who knows? At this point, I have no expectations for the rest of the season because
Hmm.
I think the
Uh,
thing that's crazy is that what's happening, other than the shuttle to Kenfori here, which is what we're talking about,
yeah.
it has been exactly what you and I predicted that it was going to be yuck yuck fest,
Hmm.
and none of it was going to have substantial weight to it, except for like 3 minutes in the episode.
So their pattern is yuck yuck story. That's
Yeah,
how they've been doing it.
very likely.
So next week we'll be back to story.
Should be. He
Hmm.
finishes with great character stuff, cool action, but not a fan of the zombies. 3.5 deltas from me.
Nice.
So nice. We appreciate those comments on our discussions of Strange New World, and we look forward to them on your comments on this episode. Let us know what you thought. If you really loved it, don't let my opinion of it sway you from not writing how you really liked it. If you really dug it
Yeah.
and you felt a certain way about it, please put it down there. Please write it. Just because I had a really hard time with it doesn't mean I don't want to
Hmm.
hear people talk about how much they enjoyed it. I'd like to
Yeah.
hear why people enjoyed it.
Don't forget I gave it a 5. So
Exactly.
you can talk to me in the
You can
comments.
talk
Tell me
right to
how good I
Caleb.
am.
Yeah. And then we'll look forward to talking about the rest of the series as we go forward. But next week's episode for August 7th will be the episode entitled Through the Lens of Time. That
Ooh.
might be fun. We'll see. We appreciate everybody watching. We appreciate you following along, especially with this being new Trek as we continue our journey in Star Trek The Next Generation on our other video series. So we appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch. This is likely a much longer episode than before,
Yeah.
but Caleb and I, well, mainly me, needed to talk about some things, so
Yeah, Will won't shut up.
won't shut my mouth. So, do all the fun, excellent things down below. We'll see you next week when we talk about another strange new world.
No, it won't be. They'll be on the ship.